Recording started. Okay, so welcome to our podcast with geophysical community, and today we have Prem Kumar, who is our college mate, and we'll be discussing about geophysical advancement in the last 2 decades with him. So, Prem, our first question to you is, how was your life from college to corporate? What things changed in the college to corporate knowledge?
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Vishal and Tanistha for having me. Uh,
Thanks,
so,
Prem.
from college to corporate, I think there's a lot of changes that happen. For me, particularly, I think the first thing was getting exposure to the a big city. Since our college was in a small city, I came to the sort of business capital of India, to Gurgaon, where our headquarter was situated. So we were in Gurgaon. That was the first exposure to a big city, and then to the corporate world, and then to the business. So although there is an extension of your knowledge in geophysics, there are a lot of other things that come into picture while you apply geophysics for a business purpose. And that's where the big change comes. For example, a student who has done his master's and gone to PhD, he'll still do a lot of theoretical geophysics. But for a person who has moved to industry, he will have a lot of business side exposure of geophysics, how geophysics is being applied to solve real life problems, and how it solves a problem of business and generates revenue or generates income and brings jobs to the community. So a lot of that kind of application I got exposed to. I think that was the biggest change that I had encountered while moving from college to corporate. And of course, that journey continued. That was for the initial years, and then you moved on to take on the bigger roles and the bigger challenges. So that journey continues and keep on evolving while you be deeply rooted in geophysics. You branch out to the different other branches or other functions as well.
And can you give an example, Prem, like how was like the change that the business side, just like a business example, how is it making money? Like maybe because in terms of your reservoir experience or your reservoir geophysicist experience, something that we don't really study in academia.
Okay, I will tell you an interesting story. So in my initial years, when I was a junior geophysicist, I started working from office, and like our office was headquartered in Gurgaon, and we have operations around India. And one of the major field location was in Barmer, Rajasthan. And there we made a proposal. A well was being drilled, and our team had made a proposal of that well location. So we all have worked very hard to integrate all the subsurface data and come up with that well location, right? So my supervisor called me and told me that you should go to the field and just see how the wells are being drilled and how the data are being acquired. So I went to the field, and that was my first experience when I went to the field, my first time. Before that, I had only seen the well and the subsurface data on my workstation. So this is the first time I went for a real time how the well was being drilled and how the data was being acquired. So I reached there, and I remember I was really really taken back by the massiveness of the operations that was being taken place there. Like there are a lot of people around. There are massive instruments. There are big rig deployed there, and there were like 500 people working for different things and running around, and there was a big setup there. There were offices, right? So I really, I was sitting in my chamber and I was thinking, see, like I had just how much jobs I have created, right? And me and our team were just integrated some subsurface data and proposed that this is a suitable well location where we may find oil, and see that concept while the team was working hard to turning that into reality, how much job that has created. And I felt really proud as a geophysicist, right? That how much people can be engaged to some of the concept that we build in using subsurface data, right? And that's a realization that how much weight a geophysicist carry, right? That if you can say that this is suitable location to drill, then everybody comes there with all the instrument they had to drill.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's it's a very big basin, right? There's many trucks and all over there, right? There's lot of drilling. I saw those things in Calgary when went to one of the fields, but yeah, it might be very similar. So maybe just coming to a little bit more technical. So the data, this is it how is this data acquired continuously, or what are the challenges of collecting this data, and how much, because it's also kind of an AI podcast, how much of your cleaning has to go into? I mean, I know there's a lot of data cleaning you have to do, but can you talk a little bit of acquisition, and then how where it is stored, or how is it used, and how is it cleaned to do the interpretation?
Right. So if I talk about the well data, mostly what geophysicists deal with are the acoustic logs. While there's a suite of logs which is used to interpret the lithology, but mostly what actually comes into geophysical domain are the acoustic logs. That means the sonic and density logs, right?
Okay.
And then a lot of QCS steps which tie into the uh, uh, acquisition report, or what happened during acquisition. What was the borehole condition? So actually that ties with the what was the borehole condition, and what was the various event that took place while the data was being acquired, while the well was being drilled. So those things taken into account, and then the cleaned up and QC'd version of log data is being loaded to our systems, and that is used for the further geophysical processes like seismic to well tie, forward modeling, interface, AVO interface analysis. So those things comes into picture. So that, I think that the first step is a very critical step in any geophysical workflow, because like if the principle is very simple. If garbage in and garbage out, I think you've heard this. Like if the inputs are not correct, then you're going to get a very poor output. So
Yeah.
that's a very important step of any geophysical work that we do.
Okay. So maybe also another question. So now I know there's so many geophysical workflows. So how do you see these new technologies as such, AI, deep learning, machine learning, or any other technologies, maybe improved visualization would help in the data acquisition or processing, cleaning, and all, or automating the workflows?
Right. So I will tell you where we geophysicists are. Like we see at the market, that what are the tools available.
Yeah.
There are like the basic premises of what we do, that like combining of the data, experimenting with what data we have, coming with the new way of visualization. So that's a lot of things are going on in that territory. But the basic of like geophysics has not changed. The basic theory of the geophysics haven't changed.
Hmm.
So what's new that we are looking at? There are a lot of claims and there are a lot of products which are coming right now. Which, for example, there was one tool which gets trained into picking markers on the well log, right, and predict on the new well that what would be the markers there,
Right.
right? And it gets on. The training continues with all the previous data, but if the geology is so much heterogeneous, like if it will be drilled in a new
Right.
area, there has to be some errors and there will be some manual intervention to correct that, right?
Of course.
So we are like, and but we believe in this technology. There are a lot of we believe that going forward a lot of technology intervention will happen. A lot of manual work will be taken care by AI. So that's where we are going, and that we believe that that's going to happen in future. But the path to that point, I think that still is forming, right? And that is open, uh, and that is a long way to go, right? We all have started going towards that direction. There are lot of tools are being found, but still I will say right now a lot of manual intervention is required
Yeah.
to get a useful product,
Right.
right? But I think we are there, like we are going, the pace may be slow, while there are a lot of R&D going on across organization, across universities in this domain. But ultimately, everything gets weighted on the result and the impact. That's where the main challenge is, right? When these AI tools will start showing their impact and their result, and prove themselves that right now this has become. Otherwise, a lot of things will remain in theory domain, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I personally, as a geophysicist, I don't think AI can completely replace any of these manual interventions. It will be more like a reinforcement learning. So they will learn from their errors when a human is rectifying them. So it cannot be. So it can kind of bring out some of your manual work in decreased time. But of course, the basic geophysical steps can never be replaced. That's for sure.
And like I think you must be aware, like in geophys, when I joined industry, this auto tracking was a very in thing. Like people were moving from a manual picking to a auto tracking picking of origins, and tools were getting advanced. Like you can give a lot of inputs, tools. Lot of constraints were being introduced, right? And still the seismic interpretation, even till today, a lot of supporting tools have been built, but interpretation still today remains very personal. Like if you give the same data to two people, they will come with a different interpretation, and they will they will post slightly different maps to each other, and give it to n number of people, it will give n number of results. So interpretation still remains a lot personal product till now, not being harmonized. Although a lot of AI tools are still working in getting it harmonized and getting it consistent.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So in this personalized interpretation, let's say 10 people giving 10 interpretations, as a company, how do you make sure that you know whom to trust more than the other? Like, how is the decision making happening, or do you just see some common patterns between all these 10 people and just go with that? How is that decision making usually?
So usually that's handled by a peer review and peer assist process, where you explain your interpretation, and then there is a group of people who kind of peer reviews and give their opinion, and you try to come up with come up on a common ground or a common solution, which kind of fits every every geological rule or every structural possibilities which are possible, right? And then you come up with a common solution. So the whole thing is being right now managed by the process. When an interpreter interprets an horizon, then it goes to a peer assist, it goes to a peer review, and then and even before that, a senior person gets involved and uses experience to provide solution or assistance to the interpreter. So that's how we reach to a common solution.
Yeah, so there's a lot of this human peer review involved in
Correct.
getting that common ground that okay, fine, let's
Yeah.
agree to all this together.
Correct.
Let's take the risk together.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Sounds
So
good.
maybe, yeah, maybe I will just it kind of a question. So now, Prem, you've been in the industry for so many years. So like maybe more politics. What's your opinion on clean energy, and how is it tying up with the conventional energy, or how do you? What's your view?
View on the renewables, or what was the question?
Yeah. So renewables are what do you, in your terms, what do you think of clean energy? Is the conventional also a clean energy, or it's just the renewable a clean energy, or can conventional reach to the renewable, the clean energy stage?
Yeah, I think that process is like very much committed. Like everybody of us working in oil and gas are committed towards overall no carbon, low carbon solutions.
Yeah.
That's a commitment from all of us, and the plan is like every company, like not for us, like every company in the industry are not targeting a long term clean energy solutions or long term low carbon, overall net carbon in the earth. But that process is definitely going to take time, right? Like the way we do our business now is slowly transforming. Like every big energy company are now divesting into cleaner versions of energy, and there is a sense that ultimately their transition will happen, and the new forms of energy will come. But at the same time, what experts feel that transition will be slow, and that's a sustainable way, right? Right now, we can't imagine our life without fossil fuels.
No,
So while we transition to that form of energy, well, that's a commitment that is going to take time.
Yeah. And just curious to know, what are the how are the companies going low carbon? Is it more sequestering, or what are the things that's happening in the industry?
So overall, a lot of venturing into overall how much energy we produce by how much carbon we emit. So that ratio that need to be low. So investing into geothermal energy or CCUS, or overall keeping the carbon footprints of your operations low on the environment. Okay, so that's the area that we are working on. And right now, if you look at the big picture, right, in India, like Europe, I think they are pioneering the transitioning to the cleaner version, while India is still experimenting with a different, still working on conventional source of energy, and that transition is still still to come in India, like where we invest heavily on the cleaner versions of energy.
Okay. Yeah, got it. Yeah, it's a good, and it will take time, but it will be there. It's a process. Yeah, I think that's good enough. Thanks, Prem, for sharing your insights. And
Yeah,
any last thoughts?
One thing I want to tell is like the oil and gas industry is full of problem statements where AI can be applied. So I believe that if AI is going to work and save cost and like bring in solution, is the oil and gas industry. AI right now is buzzword in every industry.
Yeah.
Is in everybody is working on bringing AI into their workflows and in their industry. So a lot of solutions coming across industry. But I think the oil and gas, we have a lot of area where it can be successfully applied.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting to see what you come up with.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Okay. So, Vishal, we want to
Yeah.
thank Prem for his
Thank you.
great insights. And thanks for joining. I know that it's late at night in India. And all the best, Prem.
Thank you. Thanks, Vishal.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Anusha.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.